Want to chime in on what's happening with your favorite KFAN program? Make your voice heard on the Bradshaw and Brian text line. Let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That's 64686. Standard message and data rates apply.
Giveaways right now. It is a Wild Wednesday here on the Fan, presented by Jim Beam, family made and crafted, and they've got your tickets to tonight's tilt. Be the 11th caller at 1-800-320-5326. 1-800-320-5326 to win a pair of tickets to see your Minnesota Wild take on Connor McDavid, who's overrated, and the Edmonton Oilers tonight. Call now, and you'll be a winner. From everybody with the Wild, the Fan, and Jim Beam, I'm assuming you'll be at the game tonight at the Fuse Box?
I will not.
Oh.
I will not, unfortunately. Okay. We're looking at the schedule, my daughter and I, and we're making plans for the future.
Okay.
And, yeah, I'm not going to be at the
it's a big one.
Target Center either. They've got dueling games tonight.
Who do they
Program predicament. Steph Curry's in town.
Steph Curry.
It's a late start because of national TV. Probably won't start till 8:45. I know. It sucks. Yeah, so I mean, both teams are at it. The Wolves in the midst of they're in a meat grinder right now with schedule-wise. They got the Knicks, and then they play the Cavs here back-to-back. Knicks are on the road, but then they think they play the Cavs here Saturday night, and, Memphis, a couple other teams. But, it's time for them to, as they say, it's go time to kind of get their act together. They're playing better, but we'll see against a tougher schedule if they can do that.
I'm not paying as close attention to the Wolves or the National Basketball Association as I once did. Mm-hmm. But it seems like in thinking about the Wolves, and tell me if this is just too much of a generalization of the club, they seem to they either play really well or they play really, I don't know, necessarily really bad, but they either look like, hey, this looks like a team that's kind of, the offense is kind of clicking a little bit defensively. Sure. And then the next night, it could be just the very next night or, the next game where it's like, what's wrong with this club? They just haven't been able to. They had that one little stretch where I think there was like a 6-game stretch where in 5 of the 6 games they held their opponents to under 100 points. And I think they did well in those games. I think they won all of them except maybe one. But other than that, there's been no real that I can remember. Maybe I'm just misremembering, as Roger Clemens said. It doesn't seem like there's been any sort of real nice where you go like it's been a 6, 8, 10-game run where you go, hey, now I'm starting to really feel it here. It looks like they're trying to really get fit. We've been waiting to gel, but I don't really feel like I've seen it.
Well, and that's the difference between this year and last year, where they didn't have many of those lapses where they went on. I don't think they lost 3 games in a row until the playoffs, late in the playoffs. And that's a microcosm of that comment is the Memphis game the other night, because John Morant was having an off night shooting. It was 4 for 17 for most of the game. The Wolves, led most of the game. I watched the fourth quarter, and Memphis came back. It was a very entertaining game. It was highly entertaining and skilled, and teams are going back and forth. But what happened at the end of the game was at home, and it was one of those games that I think the announcers were talking about as well. Jimmy Pete's of the world going, these are the types of games that are going to come back and bite you at the end of the year. They let that one slip away. Memphis got the lead late, and the Wolves were stagnant on offense. They had one last opportunity to get the ball in play, and they draw up the play on the sidelines, and it's as if there was no conversation that happened between Chris Finch and the team. I mean, Ant, who had a horrible shooting night overall, ends up jacking up a 3 and had a hand in his face and didn't even come close to making the shot.
Well, and if I read correctly, that really wasn't what he was supposed to do.
I don't think so.
They had something else ready to go, and then it apparently wasn't working, so he just ran out to he wasn't supposed to. I didn't understand it all. And then he got the ball, and like you say, he had a guy in his face, and he kind of double clutched, and he didn't put up a good shot.
Yeah, that's a good example of exactly what you're talking about, though, because Memphis has bounced back this year. They got a very good team, and those are the types of games.
They got bounced last night by Denver.
Did they?
Bad, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see
20,
that.
25.
Yeah, Denver's playing well. Dallas, of course, is without their star player. They're hurting right now, and they're definitely in a slump. But the one team that looks just head and shoulders above everyone else. They're really putting it together as Oklahoma City. I mean, right now, barring and wishing on anyone. I mean, barring any major injury, they look like the team that is, to me, clearly the number one team in the West, as competitive as the West can be. They're young still, and they don't even have our guy Holmgren, right? I mean,
he's been out again.
So, I mean, that's a team that is probably as dangerous, and we've watched them develop over the last couple of years, and meanwhile the Wolves are flirting around, that 8 spot right now, and yeah, I kind of agree until they can string a bunch of these games together. And right now, and like I said, the next week and a half, it's going to be difficult to play better than 500 basketball because of the opponents they are playing and the circumstances.
Where do you think we are with Anthony's career? He burst onto the scene. He's developed into what most people think. He might not be the best player in the league, but he's amongst that top probably 10, 12 guys in the league. People making comparisons to Jordan and such like that. But he's, sometimes he loses it defensively where he's not there. He's doing a lot of arguing with officials. He can be hot and cold when shooting. He even had the quote when he had the 15-point game. He said, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. They're double covering me. Mm-hmm. And then the next night he goes off for 53. He also had the coaches, I'm young and I want to shoot. I don't want to just pass the ball, which I get it. And maybe he's just being honest and that's good, but I don't know if that's kind of the attitude you want with a guy. You want more team playing. He seems to have a lot of trouble. Somebody needs to wash his mouth out with soap because he's getting a lot of fines. He's up to $250,000 in fines for, I think he flipped off an official.
He did. He admitted. I forgetting anything else he's done that's drawn the fines, the ire of the league. He admitted, I can't do that. I can't be flipping off officials, especially in front of kids and whatever. And I think he recognized his immaturity at that point. And
Talk is cheap, though,
It is, because he's still, you look at, I'm not comparing him with the antics and the number of technicals that Draymond Green has accumulated over his career, but Ant's got to settle down. He's got to quit turning around and barking at the officials every time. Cat did that a lot early in his career here, and he finally stopped doing a lot of that nonsense. But everybody, LeBron, everybody, not everybody in the league, but a lot of the big stars think they get fouled all the time. And Ant's got some growing up to do. He's extremely talented. He's uber talented in a lot of different levels. But I still think there's a process of, he's now the alpha male on this team, and it's people look to him to be the guy, and without Karl Anthony Towns around anymore. And is he ready for that over the course of a long season, and more importantly, come playoff time? He's not going anywhere. He's obviously locked in for a multi-year contract, and he is only 23 years old, and it's still pretty young in his career. So hopefully he continues to mature. His game will continue to mature. I think the one thing that Finch has wanted from him, and we've seen more evidence of it, is, getting to the basket. He does complain, but that's when he complains about not getting fouled a lot, where he does get bodied a lot, and he's so strong physically, and he's got a, assortment of, a dozen different moves. But that comes with just the maturation process over the next couple of years. But I'm glad he's on the Wolves. He's certainly worth the price of admission, as they say. My guy, Bodega Cat. Yeah. He's having quite a year so far this season. He is. Yeah. The Knickerbockers are currently in the 3rd spot in the Eastern Conference. To this point, Bodega Cat is averaging 25.5 points per game. That's 11th best in the league. He's 2nd in rebounding, 13.9. 3.3 assists 76, and he's 19th in field goal percentage at 55%. He's Bodega. Yeah. He's having a nice season over there. Well, I think most people, I know there were, we all over the years, in the 8, 9 years he was here, had some frustrations with him. Sure. He whined a lot. So. Yeah, he whined a lot. And, sometimes defensively he left a lot to be desired. A lot of people were really down on him because I don't think they beat Denver to get to the conference finals without his performance. No, they do not. He was brilliant. No. And then he didn't play as well against Dallas. But I think most people, I would think, and I think when he came back with the Knicks, they did a nice little video montage, and I think the fans were very receptive. They were. I think he's one of those guys that
people still in this town can root for. I don't think anybody harbors much ill will toward a Bodega Cat.
Not at all. And
it's nice to see him playing well. It
is, and I mean, I think he's settled in after the shock of the trade occurred, and he had such an impact in the Twin City area beyond on the basketball court, and really made a name for himself here with the community. And that's the other part of it. There's a lot of guys that come in here just they punch the clock, they do their thing, and they go home. But Carl got really immersed in the community, and I think he was recognized for that with kids groups, a whole bunch of different things, and personal issues with the family that he had with the health issues. A lot was going on, and we kind of rode that up and down escalator with his career and his personal life. But it was hard. As they say, you spend as a fan. You spend a lot of time. You buy his jersey. You root for him. You watch him from afar. You live and die with his ups and downs, and then all of a sudden he's gone. It's like what? And
with no sign of it either. It wasn't like there were rumors going around. I mean, there was always discussion. Somebody might have a go. Could it be him? It was 3 days before season started.
Yeah, and Tim Connolly. We trust Tim Connolly and what he's been doing. He's made some pretty good moves, and I don't necessarily think he's done. I don't know. Is there another move up his sleeve before the trading deadline? I don't think Randall's going anywhere, but you just don't know.
Remains to be seen.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to say to yourself, if you're Tim Connolly, can we win with this team? Because it's not like, we didn't want to compete this year.
Yeah.
We don't want to try to go back after it. Where we went to the Western Conference Finals last year, that should be the starting point of saying that's where we need to get to again this year.
Let's do another giveaway from 5 Iron Golf. They're in the North Loop. It's your ultimate winter escape for simulator golf. Swing into action on legendary courses like Pebble Beach, or like I played last night. I was there late yesterday afternoon. Mm-hmm. I played the reserve at Moonlight Basin, which is in Big Sky, Montana. I actually played the course for real a few years back. Head to 5irongolf.com to book your adventure today. And you could win a $100 gift card right now. Be the 11th caller. 1-800-320-5326. 1-800-320-5326. 11th caller wins a $100 gift card to 5 Iron Golf, courtesy of the Common Man, all of us here at the Fan, and everybody at 5 Iron Golf.
Hey, also, the Fan wants to give you a shot to put $1,000 in your hand with our national cash contest. Just enter the keyword credit at KFAN.com now for your shot at winning. That keyword is credit. Enter now at KFAN.com. Hey, Rubes, through the playoffs, Bell Bank is giving one KFAN listener each week $1,000 to pay it forward to a charity of their choice. Just head over to KFAN.com, keyword contest, to learn more and enter today. That's KFAN.com, keyword contest.
This does sound like Megadeth or Metallica, doesn't it? Metallica! Viking season came to a unceremonious end Monday night, losing to the Rams. 2 sketchy performances back-to-back by Sam Darnold. I think most people feel, we don't know for sure because no one knows exactly what the organization's thinking, but I think most people feel like Sam will not be quarterback in the Vikings next year. Do they do another bridge quarterback and still try to nurse McCarthy along, or do they just turn it over to him like a lot of teams have done with rookie quarterbacks, including this year?
Right.
The kid for Chicago, Caleb Williams,
right.
From the fire into the frying pan. Pan
into the fire.
Frying pan into the fire.
Right.
Bo
play
Nix,
the whole game. Yeah.
Bo Nix,
got to the
for
playoffs.
Denver, right?
Yep.
Threw him right in, and Jaden Daniels. This kid, if the Vikings start McCarthy this year, and he has even 3/4 or half the success Daniels did, it'll be really good. This kid, here's what it says. He threw 2 touchdown passes to lead the Commanders to the 23-22 win at Tampa Bay on Sunday night. He joins Russ Wilson, Mark Sanchez, and Joe Flacco as the only rookie quarterbacks in the big game era to win a road playoff start.
How about that?
It's just 4 guys have done it. He did more than just win, though. He threw for 268 yards, led the team with 38 yards rushing, and became the first rookie in NFL history to lead his team in yards rushing and passing. And he joined who I believe is the greatest quarterback of all time. He joined Slingin' Sammy Baugh as the only rookie quarterbacks to throw at least 2 touchdown passes in a road playoff win. Slingin' Sammy threw 3 in the 1937 title game, a victory over the Chicago Bears. He's in the same company as Slingin' Sammy Baugh.
That's one of your favorite players.
Well, he's the greatest quarterback of all time. He still holds the all-time.
So does Otto Graham.
Otto Graham.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah, you like Otto. He's like saying Otto Graham.
Maybe Otto is better. Well, Otto still holds, I think, the record for. Can you Google this to me? I think he holds the record for longest average yard per completion in a season. Think about it.
Yeah. Well, in the passing game,
Otto Graham
wasn't that big a deal.
No, they didn't.
When Unitas played, and John Brodee played, and those guys. I mean, they were not. They handed the ball off a lot.
Yeah.
When Fran Tarkenton played, they threw the ball. He threw the ball maybe 20, 25 times a game.
It was the AFL where they really started.
That's where they.
That was the Mad Bomber, Darryl LaMonica.
The Snake.
They started throwing the ball.
When you'd have the contrasting games on networks when the AFL, the old American Football League, played, and the Kansas City Chiefs and the Oakland Raiders and the Denver Broncos. And you're right.
San Diego Chargers.
Yeah, with Air Coryell and even before that time, before Fouts got there.
Before Fouts got there, back in the olden days.
Yeah, it was cool because you'd watch the AFL and go, man, that's the kind of football I like to watch. And the NFL would be much more stodgy with the Packers handing the ball off to Horning and Taylor, and occasionally Bart Starr would throw a pass to Boyd Dollar or our guy Max McGee, and that would be about it. And the Bears were the same way. Of course, the Bears have been looking for a quarterback since then, and that's until they got Caleb Williams. But yeah, I think. Do
you believe that?
You were close, by the way. Sid Luckman, first all time. 10.9 yards per attempt. Otto Graham is second and third on the list. 1953, 1947. He's also seventh on the list in 1949.
I remember our guy Norm Van Brocklin was.
He was fourth.
Was he? Okay.
1954 Rams. He was fourth.
Yeah, he
10.1.
Of course, ended up being the Vikings' first head coach, but went right from the Philadelphia Eagles to be the head coach of the Vikings.
And we think that the passing game has been revolutionized in the 21st century.
Well,
let's go back a few years.
There was a guy named Sid Gilman who revolutionized the passing game. He was it was funny because he I think he was a North Side Minneapolis guy, and he ended up being involved with the Chargers. And my dad worked for Paramount Pictures. And Sid Gilman would, during like the offseason, again, they didn't have the technology they had now, but he would provide like the film projectors and things. So Sid Gilman he was the first one to really break down film, unlike any other coach. He would use it and utilize it to his advantage, and he kind of was a trendsetter that way. But yeah, getting back to JJ, I mean, I think.
Do you think Darnold's Dunzo?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do.
What does Karen think? I have to ask.
I know.
People want me to ask.
I know they do. She doesn't know.
Okay.
I mean, she's in the midst of a lot of ownership meetings and a lot of things going on right now, but that's as far as I know.
So you think Darnold's?
I don't think. I mean, I think these last 2 weeks was just kind of his death knell here. I mean, unless he takes a really team-friendly deal, I'm not sure how KOC anyone. I mean, it was such a shocking and sudden regression, and it wasn't just a question of, oh man, he just overthrew the guy or just did that. And again, it wasn't all his fault. Obviously, the offensive line got bullied in both games, but the Detroit game more than even the Rams game to me, when they had 5 chances down there in the red zone, missing open targets. And I think that, there are plenty of options out there, and I think a team will sign him. But I don't think he comes back. I don't think he takes a team-friendly deal. There'll be too many other offers.
I
mean, the question is, and I think that KOC probably feels comfortable. You just rattled off the quarterbacks who played pretty much all year long, the rookies. J.J. McCarthy will be healed up, should be fine from his meniscus surgery, and he's had the advantage of not having the on-the-field practice, but really studying and being, using this year as almost, as a kid in college, getting your freshman orientation out of the way, where he's he's not going to be wet behind the ears walking into practice next spring.
Well, and I think quarterbacks are just further along in their development. Maybe I'm wrong, but
I think
I can't answer this question. Maybe you can. Don't you think more colleges run pro-style offenses now?
Well,
and so they just that's what they're doing anyway.
I mean, Jim Harbaugh, who we know is in the NFL now again, said that JJ was the best quarterback Michigan's ever had.
Yeah.
I mean, and he knows quarterbacks pretty well. So, I mean, I think we saw a glimpse of JJ in the preseason enough to say he's got a pretty good command, I think, of what needs to be done. And I think you just got to roll with him. I mean, I don't know what – I mean, if Daniel Jones ends up being on this team or Nick Mullins again, I mean, you just got to roll with him.
I agree.
I just at this point, and you just cited all the other cases of the other quarterbacks who were drafted who all played pretty much the entire season.
As we go to break, let's go ahead and do our last giveaway of the day, and this is a big one, Mark Rosen.
Okay. Oh,
Flop, Sweat, and Tears Tour continues Friday night at the New Hope Cinema Grill. The comedic stylings of Meat Sauce, Common, Larry Mondello Guy, and Colleen Justice. Show will start at 7:30. Tickets are available now at cinemagrill.com. We're going to get you in for free right now. 11th caller at 1-800-320-5326. 1-800-320-5326. And win a pair of tickets to see the show. A courtesy of all of us here at the Fan and the Cinema Grill. Past Common Man program, Common 10 to be Mark Rosen. Final segment of the show. This text message came in during the last break, and it is directed toward you, Mark Rosen. It says, does Karn think KOC planted the trade rumors about himself?
I've been following that story a little bit, and it seemed, I know a PA had weighed in on it on social media.
Say?
Well, he basically said,
he ripped whoever had it.
No, but he also ripped the idea that if it did come from KOC's camp, shame on them, is what he said.
All right.
So he did call them out. I have no idea. I thought the whole thing was preposterous. When I saw it, I think it's preposterous today. I think KOC will be signing a new deal. I'm saying sooner than later, but, ownership.
What about Florio and Glazer, who just recently reported that there might be a bit of bad blood between O'Connell and the Wilfs because they waited till now to sign an extension. He might be willing to just play it out.
I think they've been very clear. Mark Wilf in particular, with the KOC's people and KOC, exactly where they stand. The Wilfs are not one to string a lot of things out, especially when it comes to a head coach that they want here and the general manager that they want here to keep this train going in the right direction. I've been shocked before by things that have fallen apart at the last minute. You just mentioned the Karl Anthony Towns trade a little bit ago, and that was as shocking as anything we've had in quite a while. But given the history of the Wilfs and what they believe in KOC and how much KOC likes it here, I mean, every coach, every agent of a coach or anyone else is going to try to exercise their right to try to, max out the whole thing. But I don't think there's been bad blood between that I've heard of from anybody over there involving these guys. Is there negotiations that are ongoing or frustrations at time? Yeah, that's normal, but I would be beyond shocked if they don't work something out.
I don't think you and I discussed this. This was a tweet from Dan Hayes, who covers the Twins for The Athletic. And this was on January 7th of this year. It says, source, #Minnesota Twins could have a new ownership group in place by opening day because of a robust market of potential buyers. And underneath, they show a photograph of the stadium. And then it says, NewYorkTimes.com, robust market could have new Twins owner in place by opening day, source. So everybody's picked up on it. What have you heard? I know that you had heard that there's a possibility there's a local group. I heard the same thing. We also know it's been made public, and they did not deny it. The owners of the Phoenix Suns, their brothers, one's more of a majority owner, that they have expressed interest in possibly buying it.
I think
could it be fast track? Because that quickly, you think? Because you got to get ownership. You got to get the rest of the ownership.
I understand that, but I think there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, and I think there are definitely X number of suitors, both locally and nationally, that are interested. It's you hard pressed to believe there's that many people, that much money but they're interested in buying a baseball team. But I still think it's probably in their own minds a pretty good bargain. And so I would not be surprised if there's an ownership change by opening day, which of course is end of March or early April, whenever they open up. And it could happen pretty quickly because I think the poll ads are motivated to get this thing done. I hope. I'm not saying, I'd like to see it stay local. I mean, I don't think that the Phoenix owners are going to move this ballpark's not going anywhere. They feel very strongly about the market here. That Major League Baseball obviously does, but it would be good. I think it would be good for everyone concerned if they could get this thing done sooner than later, because otherwise this cloud of, what are the poll ads really doing? How many strings are they pulling here? What's their motivation? They're going to try to save a buck everywhere they can. I just think from a cleansing standpoint and understanding, once they said they put the sign out in front of Target Field for sale, the sooner they get this done, the better it's going to be for everybody, in particular the fans, to say, okay, we have new ownership right now. Let's see what direction they're going to take it in. Not that they're going to go out and sign the Japanese star pitcher, who's already narrowed his teams down to 3. Mm-hmm. Guess what? They're not involved with Minnesota Twins. But the point is that being aggressive enough to say, we want to build this thing back up a little bit more. They have to after what we experienced last year.
Let's take a phone call from Brodee. Brodee, you're on the fan. Haven't heard from you in a while. Yeah, what's up?
Where have you been?
Yeah, there's a reason why, because Teneby never takes my calls.
Yeah, Tenna.
Yeah.
I got a couple bones to pick with you guys.
Oh, great.
Guy, me?
Now, how come you're trashing the Vikings? We won 14 games this year, and all you guys want to do is trash our team.
Well, yeah. What have you done for me lately? Is an old saying, Brodee, that I just made up. They were awful in their last 2 games. Just simply awful.
Rosen was picking them every week like this bandwagon guy is.
Yep.
And then the second they lose, all of a sudden he's like, oh, the Rams are really good. I really like the Rams. The Rams are good.
Yeah.
You weren't saying that beforehand.
I picked the Lions to win the Super Bowl weeks ago, and I haven't changed my mind. So let's just not lose sight of that. In fact, I got money on the table with Mr. Teneby about it.
Yeah, can I get in on that bet?
Yeah. What would you like?
Oh, you want it?
I'll take the line.
What?
$50. You get the Lions, I get the field.
I don't know who you are. I don't know where you live.
Oh, come on.
I have no idea if you exist in...
Teneby knows who I am.
Teneby does?
Not really.
Yeah, I don't think any of us really.
I follow you on Twitter doesn't mean I know you, Brodee.
Yeah, I don't. I don't make wagers with strange people.
We know you were
called Venmo. It's called Venmo.
Oh, I know what it's called. I just paid Teneby $50.
The one thing we do know is you're either from Chaska or Alaska.
We don't know. Anyway, the Vikings, they got plenty of kudos all season long, but you have to admit, even as purple Kool-Aid as you are, these last 2 weeks were, not that they lost, but the fact that they just couldn't, it was a nightmarish 2 games. That's all we been pointing out. I think
when the refs just want,
oh, come on.
Oh, come on. You can't tell me that was a pass that...
I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was, but that's
game, you know it.
That was he was trying to throw the ball ankle high to his tight end. It was clear as day to anybody watching the game, Brodee.
You can't decide. they can't just try to figure out what he was trying to do.
What about the
You
Lions?
can see it. He was trying to throw the football. It's a new pass.
He just let go of the ball.
When
Letting go of
Mahomes,
the ball isn't a pass.
when Mahomes does some of those little fancy passes, everybody talks about how brilliant he is. Stafford was brilliant on that play. It won him the game. He was
And
brilliant.
back up the bus and talk about what happened in the red zone against the Lions.
Yeah,
I mean,
what
how many
happened?
chances do you want? I mean, the Lions were begging him to put them out of their misery. They couldn't score a touchdown. They
Sometimes
scored one
sometimes the
touchdown
things
in
go wrong.
21 possessions. They went without a touchdown. How is that a contending team in the
Yeah.
National Football League? You can't call them that.
You just don't understand football, Rosen. That's the
I
problem.
just lay out facts, and you just dispute them like it doesn't matter.
Oh, here's a fact. Here's a fact. You predicted they'd win 9 games. Guess how many I
did.
predicted they'd
I did.
I
Yeah, I
predicted
thought
they'd
that was
win 14,
over there.
Everybody laughed at me.
Well, you predict they're going to win 14 games or whatever every year.
No, I don't.
Lord,
Go back and look. Go back and check the record.
I don't check your records.
Now, here's another thing.
All
So
right.
we usually have the fan on at work, which is why I have to listen to your dumb show all the time. But somehow some guy got into the sound system and has been playing Warren's calls on your show over and over again.
We love
At
that.
a real station. But this guy's too dumb to have figured it out himself. So I got a feeling somebody at the fan gave those to him. Like 10 a B.
Yeah, I bet it was 10 to be.
Hello, is 10 a B there?
What's up, Brodee?
Did you get a bunch of Warren's calls and send them to some wiseacre at my work so he could play them on loop over and over?
That's funny.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Well, everybody knows you love Warren.
Everybody
I
loves
think
Warren.
why
He has some
put 'em
very
on-
intelligent-
You don't take any calls, but you always take Warren's.
Well, he's bringing up things that nobody else is talking about.
Yeah.
You're bringing up the same old
Yeah,
tired.
same stuff.
It's your same old tired routine, is what it is. Why don't you freshen it up? Why don't you get a life? Oh wait, that's me.
What's that supposed to mean? I got a good life.
Yeah, I know you do. We'll wait till
I
next
got
year.
one more question.
All right.
I got to go.
All right. What
We were
is it?
talking last time we talked that maybe I'd be on one of your comedy shows. I heard you got one this weekend.
Yeah, we do. You want to?
That would be funny.
Huh?
I'd go see that.
Damn right it'd be funny.
I got a 7 to 10 minute slot for you right between Larry Mondello guy and Colleen Justice.
How much does it pay?
And not very much. It's your first time. You ain't going to get
Buck
nothing.
a quarter or something like that?
Nah, I don't think we'll put $1.25 in your pocket. No, I put it this way: your first time, you're not getting anything. We'll see how you do, and if you do all right, then we'll add you to the tour. And
I'll email you. I'll email you and let you know.
all right, thanks. See you.
All right, Brodee.
That's Brodee.
And I would love to see that.
Brodee.
I'd pay to see that. Get up there, he'd just rip us for 7 minutes and walk off the stage.
Now he got me off track. 'Cause I had another question for you. I can't remember what.
Maybe
it was.
that's what he does.
I know. Wild Ownership Group. Are they still waiting to?
What do you mean?
Well, where are we at with that? Who's it going to be?
Wild?
No, I meant Wolves.
Oh, yeah, that's still waiting for the arbiter or whomever to step
Yeah.
in. I mean, you're right. That's a good point. I thought that would be, it's going to be a race to the finish line. Who's going to get the team first? And it's sort of, I don't know how much fans even are paying that much attention because it's not like we're getting daily updates on where the case sits right now. I mean, there's going to be one day where we're going to have this big announcement that Glenn Taylor's retaining ownership, or it's A-Rod's group with Mark Laurie. So, and what that's going to mean for the immediate future down the road. I know A-Rod and Mark Laurie's group desperately wants a new arena. How they're going to get it, who's going to pay for it, where is it going to go, where they're going to play while they're building it, if it's going to be downtown, other than farmers market area. I don't have any answers to those questions, but I know I'm talking to A-Rod, that's a really high priority because Target Center all of a sudden is one of the oldest arenas in the country. Mm-hmm. So, there's always that aspect of it. And Taylor's not one that loses many, over the course of his life and his career, doesn't lose many cases, as they say. So it's going to be interesting. I don't think anyone has any idea how this thing's going to turn out.
Somebody posed a question on Twitter, and I actually thought of the same thing. And I think of it almost every game I watch.
Okay.
And,
What sport?
and then I always forget football.
Okay.
You'll hear the penalty, hands to the face all the time, right?
Yeah.
Except when a running back stiff arms a guy to his face mask, why isn't that hands to the face? What, do we know it? I think that's a legitimate question. Maybe I should just look in the rule book. But somebody asked that, and I've always thought the same thing. It's like, did you see, who did it to the Packer guy this weekend? Who did the Packers play? Who just beat them?
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So was
Saquon?
Was it Saquon? No.
I don't know. No,
I think it was their
running
tight
back.
end.
Yeah.
I think it was their tight end. Their tight end stiffed armed him twice to the face and just not. I mean, it was kind of embarrassing for the Packer defensive back, but 2 times right to the face. Why? Can you answer that question? Can you? Why is hands to the face if an offensive lineman does it to a defender? But if a running back does it to somebody, it's just like, hey, great stiff arm.
Because they love the offense.
But the offensive linemen get called for
That's
it.
what I'm saying.
Yeah. I don't have the answer to that. It's an interesting question because I think we've seen it.
It's controversial.
Derrick Henry has done it. I mean, he'll push a guy over and he has his hands in the guy's face and just, basically bull rush him. There must be something in the rules. I mean, there's a lot of quirky interpretations of a lot of those rules. The face mask, the hands to the face, both offensively. But you're right. 99% of the time, it's called on the defensive guys for grabbing face mask, or the lineman pushing up on an offensive lineman's face. But it goes both ways a little bit with that. But yeah, I don't know how to answer that.
Let me ask you another question.
Things that keep you up at night.
Texans at Kansas City. Who do you like and why?
Well, I mean, look, this would be a mammoth upset if the Texans and C.J. Stroud went into Kansas City. As well rested as that team is, they haven't played in a month, seems like, and they got everybody back. I don't see the Texans hanging with them. I really don't. It's just quite not, as they say, not ready for that moment in Kansas City. I mean, it's going to be Kansas City against, obviously, it's the heavyweight battle of the whole weekend, Baltimore and Buffalo. I watched, I just happened to run across it last night. HBO had that, Hard Knocks AFC North, and it was really well done with the look at the Ravens and the Steelers game in particular and what's going on in Baltimore. And it all leads up to this game. And I don't really even have a favorite in this game. I just want to enjoy it. I mean, I like to see, I guess deep down, Buffalo. I mean, I think Buffalo, the Buffalo Mafia, whatever you want to call it, the Bills Mafia, the fact they've been 0-4, they've been knocking on the door. I think Baltimore is a more well-rounded team, and they got Derrick Henry. I know they got Josh Allen in Buffalo, but Derrick bleeping Henry is a monster.
So you're picking Baltimore in that one?
I think so.
Did you pick the other ones yet? I haven't.
Listening. I haven't. Obviously, Detroit.
You think Detroit will beat Washington?
Easily.
When you say easily, what do you mean?
10 points or more.
Really?
Yeah. I do. I don't know whether they favored by 8, 9. I don't know. I don't think that Jaden Daniels. Kudos to Jaden Daniels, but going into Ford Field and doing what they have to do against Detroit. I mean, he could score. I mean, obviously the Vikings had plenty of opportunities, and Jaden Daniels is a lot more mobile than Sam Darnold, and he'll be able to use his legs and create some plays, and I think he'll score some points. I just don't see Washington's defense.
Lions are favored by 9.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, I think that's probably a double-digit win.
Why is everybody just so enamored with the Detroit Lions?
Because they're damn good. They should have won last year. They
were the number 1 seed.
Yeah, they're the best team in the league. Well, best team in the NFC. I mean, I have no problem if Detroit plays Kansas City or Baltimore and Buffalo. It doesn't matter. But the Lions are going to the big game. You have to accept it as a Lions fan for how many bleeping decades. This is your year. Embrace it.
Well, who are they beating then? Philadelphia or the Rams? Who do you like in that one?
Oh, man. I'm saying a slight edge to Philadelphia because they're playing at home. The Rams
are starting to peak at the right time.
No, they absolutely are. And the passing offense of Philadelphia is not. There's not much there. But I just like the edge a little bit that Philly has defensively.
And you think Detroit beats Philly?
Yes. at Pontiac.
Tennessee, you like Kansas City. You like Detroit against Washington, right?
Yeah.
You like Philly or the Rams?
I'm going to go with Philadelphia.
Okay.
I know we just saw the Rams look like one of the best teams in football just 2 nights ago, but I think the defensive line that was all over Darnold's going to have a little bit more of a struggle
Against that offensive line.
outside in the temperatures against a stronger offensive line. So they might not get as much pressure.
What about
Maybe
Buffalo?
outside the temperatures. Where?
Isn't that Philadelphia?
Oh, in Philadelphia. I'm sorry. I was thinking.
What
that's right, never
about
mind.
what about Buffalo versus?
I should have said elements instead of temperatures.
No,
but yeah.
you're right.
what about Buffalo versus Baltimore?
Baltimore's favored by 1. I think I'd take Buffalo. I think Buffalo's second half of the season, they've been as good as anybody.
Yeah, they have.
You got Kansas City beating Buffalo.
Now, Baltimore can run the football. And that's the difference. Adding King Henry this year makes them, I think, a little bit more dynamic in January than they've been in the past. Because it's not all on Lamar anymore.
Are you taking Buffalo, though?
I'd take Baltimore. I'd take Buffalo +1. Yeah, at home.
And then do you think Buffalo beats Kansas City or Kansas City beats Buffalo?
I think it might be the year of Josh Allen.
Okay, so Buffalo.
I'm going Detroit-Buffalo.
Really?
Oh,
Detroit,
big game.
Buffalo?
Yeah.
Mark?
Baltimore, Detroit. I think the Ravens. As Ted has said, I think Josh Allen's having an MVP year, but I think the difference maker is Derrick Henry.
I think it's I think it's Houston against Washington. That's good.
That would be something.
That's good. How awful of a big game with that?
Really?
It would actually be, if those two teams made it, it'd be a heck of a story.
Yeah, it would be.
Texas no one's considering Houston at this point.
No one. No.
You know what the best thing that I saw on all the football games this weekend? They came back from break during the Eagles-Packers game.
Mm-hmm.
Playing Nazareth's Love Hurts and going back and forth between J. Love and Jalen Hurts.
Brilliant!
That was brilliant.
I did see that.
Love Hurts. And then I like stuff like that.
Well, Saturday night, right? When your Lions.
Saturday night, yeah.
Yeah.
What'll be a bigger laugh for that one or Friday night at the New Hope Cinema Grill?
Friday night. Bigger laugher.
What'll be good one?
It's going to be epic.
You know, Lil B did me a favor. We've been giving away tickets.
Yeah,
and we're selling them.
I saw that.
Lil B sent, the street team that we send out. The street team has been going out every night this week.
How's it going
after
for 'em?
midnight, and they're shattering driver's side windows on cars all over town and leaving tickets on dashboards. The street team.
There's still plenty of tickets available.
Yeah. Sauce and I sell late.
That's okay.
We always sell late after people go, well, let's see. The paint is dry. The socks have been sorted. The asphalt's tucked away in the garage. I guess we can go.
Yeah. Time to go. Boy, I hate to miss that one.
Did you know I invited Frank and Amelia to do comedy?
Oh, no, I hadn't heard that. Wait,
Frank
what?
said he's very interested.
Well, I know Frank would be.
But that's why Amelia was a little hesitant.
Yeah, Frank would definitely
Frank
have
said
material.
he's very interested. He said he couldn't do it this Friday, but he said keep him in mind. What do you think of that?
I think Frank's got a lot of material. Frank the Tank.
Yeah, Frank the Tank.
He's got a lot of stories from his college days.
We'll see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock and then Sprint Swing at 2:30, right?
Yes,
One
sir.
of us has been eliminated from
Probably
Sprint
me,
Swing.
but that they took the Vikings. It's funny stuff.
We'll find out tomorrow at 2:30. Teddy, thanks for having me.
Hey, great job.
You as well. We enjoyed our visit. We're back tomorrow at 12 noon. Big Ticket, JG, there next here on The Fan.
And now till we meet again. You like that? You like that? Au revoir, I'll be the same. Good night. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Minnesota!
Good night, folks, and good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.